Hey, everybody, welcome to the Glen Kuiper Show, another World Series post-game edition. We like to keep coming at you with these post-game shows. A lot of fun to talk about the game that we just saw, which we are certainly going to do. We'll do that. We'll look ahead to what's going to happen Friday night in Toronto with Game 6. Game 6 of the World Series. And are we surprised at what the Blue Jays did last night and tonight? I am a little bit, but you know what? We got to give them a ton of credit. So we'll get to that in a minute. Before that, let's check in with our sponsors as we like to do, starting with the Carrig Real Estate Team. The Carrig Real Estate Team has been helping families buy and sell homes across the Bay Area with a legacy of client-first service since 1978. Give them a call at 925-548-4132. We are also brought to you by Tilden Properties. By investing with Tilden Properties, you'll see quarterly dividends and equity buildup in the real estate market. They are Bay Area-based and family-owned. Go to tildenproperties.com or give them a call for more information at 925-209-8558. And we're also brought to you by Valone Insurance. You tired of being overcharged for your property insurance? Valone Insurance has multiple options for both your home and landlord property. Save big money on your property insurance. Call Kyle or Ron at Valone Insurance, 925-433-8271. Let's get to it. Game 5 is in the books, and the Toronto Blue Jays have come back after the devastating loss on Monday night to win Games 4 and Game 5. That is unbelievable. I mean, it was a one-sided affair tonight, I thought. And again, that surprised me. But we'll go through the game like we have done inning by inning and talked about some things that stand out. But again, as we've done when we go over these games, I like to hear what you guys are thinking too. So jump in the comments section. Tell me what you think about different things that happened in the game. We'll talk about that. See if you agree with me on some of my opinions about the game. But as always, I want to hear from the great listeners and the great subscribers. So the story really is the young pitcher for the Blue Jays, Trey Yesavage. He's kind of burst into our rooms big time in this postseason. Interesting. This kid, he only made 3 regular season starts for the Blue Jays, and he began the season in single A. Can you believe that? And now he's the toast of Toronto, really whatever happens. But so 3 regular season starts, that's it. Now he gets to the postseason. He made the great start in the division series against the Yankees, made a pair of starts in the championship series against Seattle, and he has now made 2 starts in the World Series. And his team has won both of those, so that's a big deal. But tonight he was masterful. I mean, this guy, he's got that split finger. He's got a pretty good breaking ball. The fastball's just good enough. So he goes 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 12 strikeouts. What a think about the just the whole scene of where he's at, standing on the mound at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers got a chance to go up 3-2, and he completely dominates a terrific lineup. 12 strikeouts. That's a rookie record for strikeouts in a game. In a World Series game, he had 23 swings and misses, and that's a number that we don't always talk about. How many swings and misses does a pitcher have? But I can tell you, I always look at that. And if a starting pitcher has anything more than 17 or 18 swings and misses in a start, that is really, really good. You get over 20, you're probably having a dominating performance. Tonight, Yesavage had 23 swings and misses by the Dodgers. So his slider was pretty good tonight, but he's got that splitter. The splitter acts a little bit like Lincecum's did. He reminds me a little bit of Lincecum over the top. Great splitter, but he's got a pretty nice breaking ball, and he used that a little bit too. And the splitter wasn't really there so much in Game 1 of the World Series. That's the Game 1 that the Blue Jays won big. They scored a bunch of runs late. He was the starting pitcher, but he only went 4 innings. He gave up 4 hits, a couple of runs, but he was not sharp. He threw 80 pitches in 4 innings. So he just wasn't super sharp, but the runs came late, and Toronto won the game. And he ended up in that the game one started, if you watched it, he ended up, because the splitter wasn't great, he threw a lot of breaking balls. But tonight, the splitter was working. He had a great feel for it, and he was terrific. He was just terrific. Fun young man to watch pitch. And looking at my score sheet here, again, he had 12 strikeouts, and he struck out every Dodger in the lineup at least once, including Smith twice, Betts twice, Freeman twice, and he got everybody else once. So he wasn't picking and choosing. He was going after everybody. And let's see, I'm just looking. I see of his 12 strikeouts, 11 were swinging, one was looking. I believe he got Muncy looking in the third. And then Hoffman at the end in the ninth inning, he struck out a pair. So the Dodgers struck out 15 times tonight. Dominguez had a strikeout as well in the eighth inning. So, so that's the story, or that's the big story. I think Yesavage, just an outstanding performance. And now the Toronto Blue Jays are one game away. 6 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Blue Jays. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. And something interesting, the Dodgers and their manager, Dave Roberts, he tweaked the lineup a little bit. It wasn't a huge change. Usually it's Ohtani, Betts, Freeman at the top. But tonight he moved Will Smith into the second spot and then dropped Betts to third, Freeman to fourth. And he also had Paez out of the lineup, who's a good young center fielder, but has really, really been scuffling. And Call went into left field. Kike Hernandez moved over to center. So a few changes. So you're thinking, well, why do you want to do it? But really, it's you don't say this very often, but the Dodgers offense is really struggling. They showed a note, or I saw a note on social media. So including the game tonight, the Dodgers have now scored 4 runs in their last 29 innings. 4 runs in last 29 innings. So that goes back to the extra innings of Monday night's game, where nobody scored anything, but the Dodgers didn't. And until Freeman hit the home run, the solo shot. So 4 runs in the last 29 innings. The offense, a lot of guys scuffling. Mookie Betts. I mean, I wouldn't say there's one guy in this Dodgers lineup that's been hot. Now, I know Ohtani had the huge game where he reached base 9 times on Monday night. But since then, he's been able the Blue Jays have been able to quiet him down. But Betts hasn't done a lot. Freddie Freeman's got the walk-off, but he hasn't done it. So it's a little surprising. It's such a good lineup with so many good hitters in it. But the Blue Jays pitching staff has done a good job. And they've actually slowed down this Dodger lineup to the point now where I think it could be a little bit of a concern for the Dodgers. Obviously, Dave Roberts felt like he needed to make a couple tweaks to the lineup, and he did that for tonight's game. So anyways, so we'll see what happens when we move ahead to Game 6. We'll talk about Game 6 and Friday night in just a minute. So let's kind of go through the game here a little bit. It was interesting early, of course. It could not have started out any better for the Toronto Blue Jays. The first 2 hitters of the game, Davis Schneider and Guerrero, hit home runs, back-to-back home runs. The first pitch of the game, Schneider hit out. 2 pitches later, Guerrero homers. For Guerrero, his 8th postseason home run this year. So he's been terrific. So just like that, it's 2-0 Toronto. Both pitches from Blake Snell were fastballs. It had 97 on a fastball to Schneider, 96 on a fastball to Guerrero. They pumped them both out to the pull side. And I thought it was a little bit interesting because after that, Snell, who's got a great changeup and a great breaking ball, I mean, he can throw it for strikes. Then he just started going to those 2 pitches. It was almost like he said, forget it, man. I threw 2 fastballs, 3 of them went out, or I threw fastballs and 2 of them went out of the ballpark. I'm not going to do that anymore. And he threw a lot of changeups, a lot of breaking balls. He didn't completely go away from the fastball, but he didn't use it as much as I think he does in the past. But he does like the changeup as well. But when it was all said and done, Snell, 6 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. So remember, in Game 1 of the World Series, Snell gave up 5 earned runs in 5 innings. Tonight, 5 earned runs in 6 2/3 innings. So I think he probably pitched a little bit better than that. A couple of inherited runners scored after he had left. But anyways, the game started with a bang for the Blue Jays. They jump out to a quick 2-0 lead. Bottom of the third, Kike Hernandez answers back. He gets a fastball from Yesavage, and it's a bomb to left field. So now it's 2-1. Blue Jays with the lead. We go to the top of the 4th inning, and this was an interesting point in the game too. Remember, it's 2-1, and Varsho hits a line drive that Teoscar Hernandez in right field dove for, and it turns out he doesn't catch it. In fact, he probably missed it by a foot, which is a lot, which tells me he probably made a mistake in diving for the ball because it got past him. It allowed Varsho to go all the way to third with nobody out. So I thought that was a mistake. I don't want it to sound like, it was a mistake because he missed it and went by him. I felt it was a mistake because I don't think he had a chance to catch it. When you saw when he dove and where the ball was, he missed it, as I said, by a good 12 to 15 inches. So if you're missing it by that much, you don't have a chance to catch it. But it turns out probably a decision that was a wrong decision. It goes as a triple for Varsho, and then Ernie Clement, who's been terrific in the whole postseason. Man, this guy's been great. He gets a sac fly, and Toronto gets that run back, so now they're up 3-1. And I think that was a costly mistake. Obviously, it's not going down as an error, but it was a poor decision by Teoscar Hernandez to dive for the ball, especially where he didn't have a chance to catch it. You could tell by how much he missed it by, and there was nobody out. So it allowed Varsho to get to third with nobody out. Bottom of the 4th inning, the Dodgers had a 2-out rally. But again, Yesavage battled. He gets Tommy Edmonds out, and the Dodgers strand a pair. And there was just not a lot of chances for LA in this game. That was one of them. 2-on, 2-out in the bottom of the 4th, down 3-1. And then the game quieted down. Yesavage 3 up, 3 down in the 5th inning, 3 up, 3 down in the 6th inning. And then we get to the top of the 7th, and that's when things got weird for the Dodgers and things really started rolling for the Blue Jays. It was 1st and 3rd, and the big strikeout to Schneider. So it was 1st and 3rd, 1 out. And they got a strikeout of Schneider, the leadoff hitter. So that's a big deal. But things kind of started to fall apart then. Guerrero comes up. And in this inning, we saw the Dodgers with 2 wild pitches and a pass ball. Probably should have been 3 wild pitches and not a pass ball, but that's up to the score. But anyways, 2 wild pitches, 1 pass ball. Guerrero walks. Bichette gets a hit. A run scored on that pass ball, and it was just an ugly inning for the Dodgers. They just did not look sharp tonight, and that was a perfect example. I mean, in 1 inning alone, 2 wild pitches and a pass ball, and when it was all said and done, a couple of runs scored for the Blue Jays, and that made it a 5-1 game. And at that point, you start feeling pretty good if you're the Toronto Blue Jays. You got a 5-1 lead. And the Dodgers just not playing clean baseball. And then you get to the let's talk about the manager and what he did in the bottom of the 7th inning. So after 6 innings, Yesavage is great, right? He had retired. I got him for 7 in a row through 6 innings. He's sitting at 89 pitches. So your thought he's got a nice lead, but it's not insurmountable. At that point, it's 3-1. The kid's pitching great. He's closing in on 90 pitches. What do? Do you go to your bullpen here? The kid did his job. Give him a handshake and go to your bullpen. No. The manager, John Schneider, and I loved it. He said, no, you're going back out there. You have mowed through this Dodger lineup. You still look strong even at 89 pitches. You've retired 7 in a row. I'm sending you back out there. I thought it was awesome. And it doesn't seem like, of course he sent him back out there, but things are managed different in the postseason. But it didn't matter. Schneider sent him back out there, and the kid got a big double play to end the 7th inning, and then that was it for him. So when he was done, how many pitches did I have him throwing? Just a little over 100, I believe, Yesavage threw. But the kid was terrific. He got out of it, and I love the fact that the manager sent him out there. Give me one more inning. You're in charge of this thing. Your stuff is great. You haven't wobbled at all, really. And he did. He went back out there, got the 7th, and then another run for the Blue Jays in the 8th. Again, sloppy by the Dodgers. There was a single, a wild pitch. So you got a single wild pitch, and then the Blue Jays do their thing. They move a runner over, get him to third with 1 out. Infield has to come in. They put the ball in play, and Kiner Falefa gets a base hit, and that's the 6th run. And that was really it. I mean, there just was not a lot of action by the Dodgers. They did not look good offensively. They looked a little bit sloppy defensively. Again, a couple of relievers came in. Banda could not get out of anything. The young man Henriquez, who pitched extremely well the other night in the extra inning game, but he's a rookie, he hasn't pitched a lot, and now he wasn't sharp tonight. He had a couple of walks, he gave up a hit, and he just made that inning worse and worse. So you see the kid be really good, and then you see him struggle, and that's kind of been the thing with those Dodger relievers. Kind of before you get to Sasaki, I guess. But anyways, so that's sort of a rundown of the game inning by inning. But those were just a couple things that jumped out. And something that I have said many times, and I think what we've seen in this series is really a perfect example of what I've said many times. In the game of baseball, as great as the game is, we talk about momentum. Can there be momentum within a game? Of course. Every sport, there's momentum within a game. Of course there is. You see it in football. You see it in basketball. You see it in hockey. It happens. Some team has some things go their way and they start feeling good about the night, right? But I've said many times that I do not believe in momentum carrying from game to game in baseball. Okay. You may have a different feeling about other sports, but I've always felt that way. I just don't see it. I don't see it because you got a different starting pitcher the next night that can sway things. There's so many games. It just doesn't carry over from game to game. Now, you can lose your confidence a little bit if you're really struggling, right? I mean, that happens, but I'm talking about momentum. And think about that in this series, okay? Freddie Freeman, it's a walk-off home run in the 18th inning to win one of the greatest World Series games ever. I think that's fair to say. You have to be feeling pretty good if you're the Dodgers. It's a crushing loss for the Blue Jays. It's a terrific win for the Dodgers. You are feeling good. You have a 2-1 lead in the best of 7, and you got the next 2 games at home. How can you not feel like maybe you got some momentum, right? What happens the very next night? Tuesday night, you lose 6-2. You get outplayed completely. What happens Wednesday night? The Dodgers, you lose again 6-1, and you get completely outplayed. There was no momentum carryover from Monday night to Tuesday night, and they were unable to take advantage of maybe what they felt after the Freeman home run. So that's my belief. It always has been. In the game of baseball, you cannot – that momentum does not carry over from game to game. I just don't believe that. And as great as the Blue Jays have played, and they've completely outplayed the Dodgers in the last 2 games, will that carry over to Game 6 in Toronto on Friday night? No. That doesn't mean that the Blue Jays can't continue to outplay the Dodgers. That's fine. But it's not going to be because of what happened in games 4 and 5. But the Blue Jays did come to play when they absolutely had to. But I've always felt that way about momentum. And it's going to be hard to convince me anything different. But that's where we're at. The Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead, and they are 1 win away from a World Series. Remember, they won it in 92 and 93, haven't been back to the World Series since, but they got a chance to do it in front of their home fans. Let's check in on some comments. If anybody's got anything to say, we got a few here. We'd like to check in with my good folks. All right. Bake that dough. I think I saw John Smoltz crack a smile. He must have heard you. I'm just saying, I think John Smoltz does a terrific job. Man, he just breaks it down, and he does it in a nice, simple way, and I like that. I've learned a lot listening to him. My point is just they just seem kind of serious, and it's. I would love to see him laugh a little bit. That's all I'm saying. If it sounds like a criticism, it's not. It's just something that I don't know. I want to see a little bit of a sense of humor, have some fun. I know it's the World Series. They're both terrific announcers. They really are. And I enjoy listening to them. I just think it would be kind of fun to see them laugh and smile a little bit. And they may say we do that we laugh and smile a lot, maybe, but it's almost like you're in baseball class with John Smoltz, and you're learning stuff, but he's dead serious. And didn't you wish you had a teacher that would smile once in a while and maybe chuckle? But who knows? Bake that dough. I appreciate it. We'll see if you. This looks like maybe you agree with me a little bit. Tried and true recipe: solid pitching will handle good offense, or at least, very least, keep them in check. Yeah, that's exactly right. And really, that's kind of what the Blue Jays have done. You look at the scores. Toronto won game 1, 11-2. LA won game 2, 5-1. And then game 3 was the long game, 6-5 Dodgers. Game 4 was 6-2 Toronto. Tonight was 6-1 Toronto. So yeah. I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job. Mike Kruko, Kruka said it, and this is what I was saying. And Kruk knows. Momentum is tomorrow's starting pitcher. That's why you don't know what the next game holds, because it's so much is based on who's going to start on the mound for both teams. So yeah, that's my theory on momentum, and I'm sticking with it. What's your nickname for Yesavage? Well, he is a savage. How about that? I don't know. I'd have to think about it, but I guarantee the people in Toronto will come up with some. You're going to see T-shirts and jerseys and everything, and there will be some nicknames. There may be some ones we don't want to say on the air, but the kids, the kid's going to get some free meals this winter, whatever happens. And you know what? He deserves it. But they'll come up with something in Toronto. Remember, I learned, don't say the T, the second T. It's silent. Toronto. Remember that. Let's see. Who do you have right now for the World Series MVP? Well, that's a great question. The Dodgers hitters, as we've been talking about, have been kind of quiet. Could it be Guerrero? I don't know. I'd have to probably dig into this a little bit more. What about a pitcher? What about the young man who pitched, Yesavage? They won both games that he started. Of course, the first one wasn't great. I don't know. I don't know that anybody super jumps out here. Guerrero is kind of the first name that pops into your head. But something else to think about. I would need a little more time to look into that. 12 strikeouts, highest World Series strikeouts in history by a rookie pitcher. Let's make sure we put that in there. Most strikeouts in World Series history by a rookie pitcher. So, welcome, Willie. All right, hey, bake that dough. He's part of my my marketing team. Bake that dough. Now he's welcoming new folks into the show, and I appreciate that. And you know what? I agree. Welcome. That's what we love. So let's get you ready now, just a little bit for. Hold on a minute. Let's get you ready for what will be game 6, okay? Because this is going to be, quite a night if you really think about it. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to get rid of that right there. We're going to get a little ticker going. All right, we're going to help out our sponsors a little bit. Thank you. So before we talk about game 6, I have to read this to you guys, and you're going to chuckle. And you may have seen it. Before the game, hold on, I want to find it because I saw this. Before the game, Magic Johnson, who has a title, right, with the Dodgers. I'm not sure if he may be a minority owner, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what he is, but listen to this. You guys will like this. This is what Magic Johnson put out on his X account before the game. Just listen. Just listen. With the series being 2-2, game 5 is very important. Whichever team wins takes control of the series. Did you know that? I knew that. And some of the comments about the comments about what he's tweeted out were actually very funny. I'm not going to read those, but so again, with the World Series being 2-2, game 5 is very important. Whichever team wins takes control of the series. So I appreciate Irvin Magic Johnson filling in us on that important piece of sports knowledge that all of us knew. Kind of a Captain Obvious comment is probably the way I would look at it. But anyways, so I just thought I would throw that out there for a chuckle. So, all right. So game 6, Friday night at Rogers Center in Toronto. Yamamoto is going to pitch for the Dodgers. Gausman is going to pitch for the Blue Jays. This is a rematch of game 2. And of course, game 2 was won by the Dodgers 5-1. Yamamoto, a complete game. He was sensational. Gausman pitched pretty well also in that game. Pitched into the 7th inning, gave up 3 runs, 4 hits. Gausman's very good. Yamamoto is on an incredible roll. So that's the pitching matchup. And the Rogers Center, I've been there a lot. 23 years of going to Toronto to announce games. It's very loud, okay? But when the roof is closed, it's incredibly loud. And their fans are going to be off the hook, right? Obviously, for all the right reasons. So it'll be interesting. I say close the roof, okay? It's beautiful. I've been there when the roof is open. It's beautiful, right? You look out, nice weather, hopefully, but it could be cooler. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the Blue Jays do, but I hope they close the roof because it is significantly louder in there when that roof is closed. And that can, listen, that can make a difference. You're looking for any small advantage. And if crowd noise can do that in baseball, I don't know, maybe. But we'll see. Rogers Center, not the Rogers Center. It's Rogers Center. So that'll be the place to be. Game 6, and then if there is a game 7, that will be Saturday night. And George Springer. This is my last thought here. Will George Springer be able to play? It sounds like he's got a shot. You saw him in the dugout in the 9th inning. He was actually going to pinch run, it looked like. Remember, he hurt his side, and boy, you see a hitter, that oblique area, that can put a guy out for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I mean, easy. But it looked like Springer did some running today, and he swung some, and he said he felt okay. So he got today off. Obviously, tomorrow's an off day. Could the Blue Jays get George Springer back? I think that would be huge. He is a catalyst sitting at the top of that lineup. We've seen it. So that's something to really keep an eye on for the Blue Jays. If you get Springer back, it just kind of completes your lineup. They've got pretty decent production from the lower half with Clement and Barger. But you put Springer up there with Bichette and Guerrero and Kirk. And now you see why this Blue Jays team is tough. And obviously they're going to need everybody. I mean, the Dodgers are going to come out, and they got slapped in the face a little bit here the last two nights, and it's probably the most talented roster in all of baseball. So they're a confident group, and I don't think they have any question that they will come back and win Game 6 and 7, and that's the way a team should feel. So, will there be a celebration in Toronto come Friday night, or will we get to see a World Series Game 7 on Saturday? We shall find out. So, remember last night we were talking about the long game on Monday night, obviously, 18 innings, and one of the questions from in the comment section was, Glenn, what was the longest game you ever did? And I said it was a 19-inning game, A's and Angels at the Coliseum. I wasn't sure of the date or the year. So I promised I would do a little research and find out exactly when that was. And I did that for you guys and gals. It was April 29th of 2013. So beginning of the year, the A's won the game 10-8 over the Angels in 19 innings. 19 innings. It was 6 hours and 32 minutes. 6 hours, 32 minutes. You think about the game started at 7 o'clock, I believe, back then. So we were there till 1:30, 1:35, something like that. Think about that. 6 hours, 32 minutes. The game the other night was 6 hours and 39 minutes. So just about the same length. And as I had some memories of that game that I did, I remember the A's were down 7-2 in the bottom of the eighth inning. They scored 4 in the eighth, and then 1 in the ninth to tie it. The run in the ninth inning, they were down to their last out. Somebody got a base hit to tie it, and then into the 15th inning, the Angels scored in the top of the 15th. And again, down to their final out, the A's scored a run in the bottom of the 15th to extend the game. And then it went all the way to the ninth inning or 19th inning, and Brandon Moss hit a 2-run homer. And that was it. The final was 10-8. So I do remember some of it. Mike Trout was in that game. Albert Pujols was in that game for the Angels. But I will admit this, and I always felt this way in extra inning games. The Manfred man, the courtesy runner, whatever you want to call him. Now you just don't have games hardly ever go long. But in my head, if I was announcing an A's game and it went past the 13th inning, I didn't care who won. I was out. I was done. Right? I mean, your loyalty, it has to stop somewhere. When you get to the 14th inning, and now it's the 14th inning, let's just get this thing over with. And most people won't admit that. Well, I'm admitting it to you. After about the 13th inning, let's just get this thing over with. If the A's win, great. If they lose, fine. We'll be back tomorrow. In this instance, it was April 29th. We were 4 weeks into the 2013 season. Okay. I was not worried about a win or a loss. So I'm admitting that to everybody, that after 13th or 14th inning, I'm out on my team having to win. Hey, you know what? That's just the way I felt about it. But I do remember that night. And I remember Ray Fosse and I chuckling, like, what the heck are we still doing here? And but you know what? The home team won. So that was a good thing. That's going to be it for the show. Friday is Halloween. We will not have a show on Friday, but if there is a Game 7 on Saturday, we'll do our best to get a show out, a post-game show. Certainly, you got to do it after a Game 7. That's too much good stuff to talk about, but it should be fun. It's going to be fun 2 nights of baseball if it gets to Game 7. But Friday night's Game 6, and that'll certainly be worth it to check it out. And the baseball season is slowly coming to an end. All right, one more look at the comments, and then we're going to head on out of here. Let's see. That must have been brutal if the following day was a getaway day game. I think the next day may have been a day game because it was a 3-game series, and this was like a Tuesday night. So, and I'm trying to recall, again, this is, 12 years ago. But it is that is possible that it may have been a getaway day the next day when the A's and Angels played that 19-inning game. In a World Series game, as a fan, I don't hope my team loses, but regular season, that's valid. Thank you. I appreciate that. I would not feel that way if I was announcing for a team and it was a World Series game or a playoff game. Of course not. But this was a regular season game. Okay. I did this for 23 years. It was April. So I appreciate, you guys kind of understanding that a little bit. Send some virtual congratulatory cookies to Mr. Tony Vitello tomorrow. Absolutely. Bake that dough. Let's get it to him. Come on. So the press conference is tomorrow. That's going to be a big, big deal. The Giants will introduce Tony Vitello as their new manager. I will be there. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really big deal. I think the media is going to be dying to ask this guy questions. Nobody knows what this guy's. We know what we've read about him, but we're all kind of looking forward to seeing him and hearing him talk. And he's supposed to be special. So we'll find out tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to heading over to Oracle Park for the Tony Vitello Giants press conference tomorrow, which will start at 11 a.m. And we'll also touch on that certainly on our next show. So that's it for tonight. Let's check in one more time with our sponsors, starting with the Carrick Real Estate team. You know the drill. Whether you're moving up or downsizing or just buying a new home, these people are the people you want to call. They're awesome. They worked with me. They worked with other members of my family. Good people and an excellent company. CarrickTeam.com, and call them at 925-548-4132 and contact Mike Carrick, and he'll give you a free home sale or purchase consultation. That's the Carrick Real Estate team. And by Tilden Properties. You know the drill. As an investor, one of the best places to put your money is California's multi-family real estate. Well, you can do that with Tilden Properties. Become an investor with Tilden Properties, and what you'll see is quarterly dividends and equity buildup in the real estate market. Isn't that what you want? These are good, solid businessmen, and they know what they're doing. Trust me, 925-209-8558 is their phone number. Call Tilden Properties now to invest. And last but not least, Vallone Insurance. Hey, Vallone Insurance has multiple options for your home and landlord properties. Save big money on your property insurance. Call them at 925-433-8271. That is it for our post-game edition from Game 5 of the World Series, where the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight by a score of 6-1. So that's it. You know the drill. Subscribe on YouTube. It's the Glen Kuiper Show. We are closing in, folks, on 8,000 subscribers in 6 months. I can't thank you folks enough. I never would have imagined that we would have got to 8,000 subscribers in 6 months. And I thank you guys for that. Let's keep it rolling. Tell your friends, go to the YouTube channel and we're kicking out videos every day, and there's good stuff coming out. So keep joining us, and thanks again for everything. Stratton loves Pepperidge. Love you and your show. Thank you very much. I love the subscribers. Keep watching. We'll keep kicking out stuff for you. And we'll see you after Game 7, if there is one, of the World Series on the Glen Kuiper Show. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a good one.